Welcome to a tale that has captivated children for generations, but not quite the version you might remember. The story we're reading today comes from 1904, published by Frederick Warne Co. during what scholars call the golden age of children's literature. This isn't the sanitized story where all three pigs live happily ever after. This is the original, darker tale where choices have real consequences and where a clever pig ultimately serves wolf soup for dinner. Frederick Warne Co. wasn't just any publisher. By 1904, they were revolutionizing children's literature. Warne pioneered something we take for granted today: character merchandising. They created the first Peter Rabbit dolls and games, essentially inventing the modern children's entertainment industry. What made Warne special was their belief that children deserved the very best. At a time when many children's books were cheaply made moral lessons, Warne insisted on quality storytelling that respected young readers' intelligence. They were among the first to realize that children's books could be both commercially successful and artistically significant. The Three Little Pigs has ancient roots. The earliest printed version actually appeared in 1853 in Devon, England, featuring three little pixies and a fox. By the time Joseph Jacobs included it in his famous English fairy tales in 1890, the basic story we know had taken shape. But here's what makes this 1904 edition special. It preserves fascinating details that later versions would remove. In this telling, the second pig doesn't build his house of stick, but of furze, a spiny shrub that grows on England moorlands, and the extended ending, often cut from modern versions, is here in full. The year 1904 was magical for children's literature. This was the height of the Edwardian era, a time when prosperity and innovation before the First World War changed everything. Publishers like Warne were creating books designed not to preach moral lessons, but to entertain and delight. They understood that children could handle complex stories with real stakes and consequences. This edition represents a pivotal moment when traditional folk tales met modern publishing. The story maintains its original edge while being presented as fine literature worthy of preservation. Today, this very book resides in the Library of Congress's rare book collection, recognized as one of the earliest definitive versions of the complete traditional tale. So settle in for a story that's both familiar and surprising. Listen carefully now as we begin a tale from over a century ago, when the world was different but children still needed to learn the same timeless lesson. Sometimes it does pay to build your house out of bricks. The story of the Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time there was an old sow with three little pigs, and as she had not enough to keep them, she sent them out to seek their fortune. The first that went off met a man with a bundle of straw, and said to him, "Please, man, give me that straw to build me a house," which the man did, and the little pig built a house with it. Presently came along a wolf, and knocked at the door, and said, little pig, let me come in." To which the pig answered, "No, no, by the hair of my chinny chin chin." "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in," said the wolf. So he huffed and he puffed and he blew his house in and ate up the little pig. The second pig met with a man with a bundle of furs and said, "Please, man, give me that furs to build a house," which the man did, and the pig built his house. Then along came the wolf and said, little pig, let me come in." "No, no, by the hair of my chinny chin chin." "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." So he huffed and he puffed and he puffed and he huffed, and at last he blew the house down and ate up the second little pig. The third little pig met a man with a load of bricks and said, "Please, man, give me those bricks to build a house with." So the man gave him the bricks, and he built his house with them. So the wolf came, and as he did to the other little pigs, and said, little pig, let me come in." "No, no, by the hair of my chinny chin chin." "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." Well, he huffed and he puffed, and he huffed and he puffed, and he puffed and he huffed, but he could not get the house down. When he found that he could not, with all his huffing and puffing, blow the house down, he said, little pig, I know where there is a nice field of turnips." "Where?" said the little pig. "Oh, in Mr. Smith's home field. And if you will be ready tomorrow morning, I will call for you, and we will go together and get some for dinner." "Very well," said the little pig. "I will be ready. What time do you mean to go?" "Oh, at 6 o'clock. Well, the little pig got up at 5, and got the turnips, and was home again before 6. When the wolf came, he said, "Little pig, are you ready?" "Ready," said the little pig. "I have been and come back again, and got a nice pot full for dinner." The wolf felt very angry at this, but thought he would be up to the little pig somehow or other, so he said, "Little pig, I know where there is a nice apple tree." "Where?" said the pig. "Down at the merry garden," replied the wolf. "And if you will not deceive me, I will come for you at 5 o'clock tomorrow, and we will go together and get some apples." Well, the little pig woke at 4 the next morning and bustled up and went off for the apples, hoping to get back before the wolf came. But he had further to go and had to climb the tree, so that just as he was coming down from it, he saw the wolf coming, which, as you may suppose, frightened him very much. When the wolf came up, he said, "Little pig, what? Are you here before me? Are they nice apples?" "Yes, very," said the little pig. "I will throw you down one." And he threw it so far that while the wolf was gone to pick it up, the little pig jumped down and ran home. The next day, the wolf came again and said to the little pig, "Little pig, there is a fair in town this afternoon. Will you go?" "Oh, yes," said the pig. "I will go. What time shall you be ready?" "At 3, said the wolf. So the little pig went off before the time, as usual, and got to the fair and bought a butter churn, and was on his way home when he saw the wolf coming. Then he could not tell what to do, so he got into the butter churn to hide, and in doing so turned it round, and when it began to roll, it rolled down the hill with the pig inside, which frightened the wolf so much he ran home without going to the fair. He went to the little pig's house and told him how frightened he had been by a great round thing which came down the hill past him. Then the little pig said, "Ha! I frightened you, did I? I had been to the fair and bought a butter churn, and when I saw you, I got into it and rolled down the hill." Then the wolf was very angry indeed, and declared he would eat up the little pig, and that he would get down the chimney after him. When the little pig saw what he was about, he hung on the pot full of water and made up a blazing fire, and, just as the wolf was coming down, took off the cover of the pot, and in fell the wolf. And the little pig put on the cover again in an instant, boiled him up, and ate him for supper, and lived happily ever after. The end.